Are you exhausted from monitoring your emotions like a manifestation police officer? Forcing gratitude when you feel frustrated? Performing excitement when you feel worried? Convinced that your authentic feelings are sabotaging your dreams? What if ancient consciousness architects discovered that suppressing anger, sadness, and fear isn't raising your vibration? It's fragmenting the very consciousness coherence required for reality construction. Right now, in this exact moment, you're probably catching yourself before feeling something negative, aren't you? That split second where you feel anger about your current circumstances, then immediately redirect toward forced gratitude. That moment when sadness about what isn't working yet surfaces, then you quickly cover it with affirmations about trust and patience. You wake up performing emotional positivity while your authentic intelligence fights for attention underneath the spiritual performance. You've turned manifestation into exhausting emotional theater, where you're simultaneously the actor trying to stay in positive character and the critic judging whether you're doing it right. Let me tell you what's really happening in your consciousness when you suppress authentic emotions for manifestation purposes. You create what neuroscientists call cognitive dissonance. Your brain receives conflicting signals that fragment your consciousness across incompatible frequencies. Instead of broadcasting one coherent signal to the quantum field, you're transmitting mixed messages that create mixed results. This emotional fragmentation isn't spiritual growth. It's precisely what keeps your manifestations feeling forced, fragile, or incomplete when they do arrive. What if I told you that consciousness masters who actually built empires, shaped civilizations, and created outcomes that seemed impossible to their contemporaries used the complete opposite approach? What if your anger about current limitations contains demolition intelligence for dismantling what doesn't serve your evolution? What if your sadness about disappointments holds clearing wisdom for releasing energetic attachments that block your next level? What if your fear about desired changes carries protection intelligence that ensures your manifestations serve your authentic values rather than creating beautiful prisons? Ancient architects discovered that your negative emotions aren't manifestation interference. They're precision-building tools that guide construction of realities so solid they feel inevitable rather than forced. Today, this revelation shatters the positive-only myth and reveals why consciousness masters throughout history used complete emotional architecture to build impossible realities that lasted for generations rather than manifestations that required constant emotional maintenance to sustain. The daily emotional police state picture, your typical morning manifestation routine. You sit down to meditate, visualize, or journal about your goals. But before you even begin, there's that internal monitoring system scanning your emotional state. Am I feeling grateful enough about my current situation? Do I really believe this manifestation will work? Am I in a high enough vibration for this to be effective? Then you catch yourself feeling frustrated about how long this process is taking. Immediately, the manifestation police in your mind activates. Stop that negative thinking. You're sabotaging your progress. So you force a smile, take some deep breaths, and redirect toward appreciation for the journey, trust in divine timing, and excitement about eventual success. But underneath that performed positivity, the frustrated part of you is still there, now joined by shame about having frustrated feelings in the first place. You spend more energy managing your emotional state than actually engaging with your desired outcomes. Your manifestation practice becomes an exercise in emotional suppression disguised as spiritual development. Sarah, a marketing consultant, described her morning routine perfectly. I sit down to manifest my dream business, but I'm so busy making sure I feel grateful for my current struggling business that I never actually get clear about what I want to build instead. I'm performing gratitude for limitations instead of using my frustration to identify what needs to change. This emotional monitoring creates what consciousness researchers call metacognitive overload. Your brain becomes so focused on managing your mental processes that it has no bandwidth left for actual creative problem-solving or innovative thinking. Marcus, an aspiring entrepreneur, spent 3 years trying to manifest business success while suppressing his anger about corporate employment. His manifestation sessions were battles between his authentic frustration with conventional work structures and his performed gratitude for having stable income. The result? Marcus attracted business opportunities that felt like slightly improved versions of corporate employment rather than the creative freedom and financial autonomy he actually desired. His suppressed anger had contained crucial information about what needed to be different in any authentic business venture. When Marcus learned to extract intelligence from his frustration instead of suppressing it, everything shifted. His anger revealed specific corporate patterns he needed to avoid: arbitrary hierarchy, creative limitation, time for money exchange structures, and lack of direct value-to-income correlation. This demolition intelligence guided Marcus to create a consulting business that honored creative autonomy, flexible scheduling, value-based pricing, and direct client impact. His business felt authentically aligned because it was architected from his complete emotional intelligence rather than partial positive performance. The emotional fragmentation epidemic. Jennifer had been studying manifestation for 8 years when she attracted what appeared to be her dream relationship. David was emotionally available, financially stable, spiritually minded, and genuinely interested in building a future together. Everything she had visualized and affirmed. But 6 months into the relationship, Jennifer felt a persistent underlying anxiety that she couldn't explain or resolve. Despite having manifested exactly what she thought she wanted, something felt fundamentally off. The breakthrough came when Jennifer examined what emotions she had suppressed during her relationship manifestation process. She had forced gratitude for being single while feeling genuine sadness about loneliness. She had performed excitement about future love while feeling fear about emotional vulnerability. She had affirmed trust in divine timing while feeling anger about past relationship disappointments. Jennifer realized she had constructed a relationship that matched her positive visualizations but ignored her complete emotional wisdom. Her suppressed sadness had contained information about the type of emotional intimacy she actually needed. Her suppressed fear had identified specific communication patterns and boundary requirements essential for her feeling safe in partnership. Her suppressed anger had revealed past relationship dynamics she needed to ensure never repeated. Because Jennifer had manifested from partial emotional intelligence, she attracted someone who matched her positive ideals but didn't align with her authentic emotional requirements. David was wonderful on paper but incompatible with her actual relationship needs. When Jennifer learned to approach relationships through complete emotional architecture, she was able to communicate her authentic requirements, establish boundaries that honored her protection intelligence, and create intimacy that felt both exciting and secure. The relationship either evolved to accommodate her complete emotional truth or naturally ended to make space for partnership that could honor her full spectrum of human experience. This pattern repeats across every area of manifestation. When you suppress emotions in service of maintaining high vibration, you lose access to essential intelligence that ensures your manifestations actually serve your authentic evolution. Robert, a software developer, spent 5 years manifesting financial abundance through gratitude practices while suppressing anger about corporate salary limitations, sadness about financial stress, impact on family relationships, and fear about career change risks. His manifestations brought salary increases that improved his financial situation, but didn't address the deeper career dissatisfaction his suppressed emotions had been revealing. Robert kept receiving more money for work that fundamentally misaligned with his authentic values and creative potential. When Robert learned emotional architecture, his anger revealed specific aspects of corporate culture that drained his energy. His sadness showed him the family connection time he was sacrificing for financial security, and his fear identified legitimate concerns about transition planning for career changes. This complete emotional intelligence guided Robert to architect a career transformation that addressed financial abundance through work that honored his creative energy, family priorities, and risk management requirements. His new consulting practice generated $180,000 annually while providing the flexibility and fulfillment his suppressed emotions had been trying to guide him toward for years. The incomplete reality creation problem. Every manifestation created through emotional suppression produces incomplete realities. You attract aspects of what you desire, but they come with unexpected complications, don't feel as satisfying as anticipated, or require constant emotional maintenance to sustain. This happens because you constructed your desired outcome using only positive emotional materials. The suppressed emotions didn't disappear. They became architectural weak points that eventually destabilize everything you built. Think about your recent manifestation successes. How many felt truly solid and sustainable versus exciting but fragile? How many required ongoing emotional management to maintain versus feeling naturally aligned with your authentic experience? Lisa, a yoga instructor, manifested a successful online course business that generated six-figure revenue in its first year. But instead of feeling fulfilled, she experienced constant anxiety about maintaining positive online presence, fear about sustainable growth, and sadness about the isolation of digital-only client relationships. Lisa realized she had manifested from partial emotional intelligence, focusing on financial success and professional recognition while suppressing concerns about authentic connection, sustainable business practices, and alignment with her deeper values around community and presence. When Lisa redesigned her business using complete emotional architecture, she integrated her suppressed emotions as intelligent feedback. Her anxiety revealed need for authentic rather than performed online presence. Her fear guided development of sustainable growth systems rather than unsustainable scaling. Her sadness about isolation led to hybrid business model that combined online reach with in-person community building. This emotionally integrated approach created business success that felt both professionally rewarding and personally fulfilling because it was architected from her complete truth rather than partial, ambitious performance. Ancient consciousness masters understood that sustainable manifestation requires what they called coherent emotional intelligence. The ability to extract architectural wisdom from your complete human experience rather than constructing from partial positive performance. How consciousness masters actually built impossible realities. Ancient consciousness architects who shaped civilizations didn't suppress emotions. They understood them as precision-building tools for reality construction. Each emotion served specific architectural functions that modern manifestation teaching completely ignores. They recognize that anger provides demolition intelligence. When you feel authentic anger about current circumstances, this emotion identifies exactly what patterns, relationships, or situations need to be dismantled before desired outcomes can manifest sustainably. Master architects didn't suppress anger about limitations. They channeled it as demolition energy. If they felt anger about political corruption, they used that energy to systematically dismantle corrupt systems while building alternative governance structures. If they experienced anger about social injustice, they directed that force toward eliminating unjust practices while creating equitable alternatives. Sadness, ancient masters discovered, functions as clearing intelligence. When you feel genuine sadness about losses, endings, or disappointments, this emotion guides the natural process of releasing energetic attachments to what was, creating consciousness space for what could be. Master architects honored sadness as essential transition intelligence. When building new cities, they allowed communities to grieve what was being left behind while celebrating what was being created. This emotional clearing prevented new constructions from feeling like betrayals of previous experiences. Fear, consciousness masters understood, operates as protection intelligence. When you feel fear about potential outcomes, changes, or risks, this emotion identifies what you value enough to safeguard during transformation processes. Ancient architects never suppressed fear as low vibration. They extracted protection wisdom. If they felt fear about military campaigns, they used that intelligence to develop comprehensive preparation strategies. If they experienced fear about economic changes, they channeled that wisdom into building resilient financial systems. Joy serves as construction energy, but only after demolition, clearing, and protection protocols are complete. Ancient masters understood that premature joy, trying to feel good before addressing what needs to change, creates unstable realities that collapse under pressure. This four-phase emotional architecture process, demolition, clearing, protection, construction, enabled ancient masters to build outcomes that remained stable for generations because they were constructed from complete emotional integration rather than partial positive performance. Modern manifestation's dangerous oversimplification. When ancient consciousness techniques were commercialized and simplified for mass consumption, they lost their sophisticated understanding of emotional architecture. Complex reality construction methods were reduced to think positive, feel good, get what you want. This oversimplification created manifestation performance anxiety that affects millions of consciousness students today. You monitor your emotions obsessively, trying to catch negative feelings before they ruin your vibration. You force gratitude while feeling frustrated, perform excitement while feeling worried, affirm trust while feeling fearful. The psychological damage of this approach extends far beyond failed manifestations. Emotional suppression for spiritual purposes creates internal fragmentation that affects your ability to make authentic decisions, maintain genuine relationships, and recognize your actual needs versus performed desires. Dr. Susan David's research at Harvard Medical School shows that emotional suppression, even for positive purposes, significantly reduces psychological flexibility, emotional intelligence, and decision-making capability. When you reject authentic emotional information to maintain spiritual correctness, you lose access to essential intelligence that guides aligned life choices. Take Maria, a wellness coach who spent 4 years manifesting business growth through positive-only approaches. She forced gratitude for her current client base while feeling angry about boundaries issues. She performed excitement about scaling her business while feeling fearful about maintaining quality relationships with increased numbers. Her manifestation attempts brought steady business growth, but with constant boundary violations from demanding clients and increasing stress about maintaining personal connection while serving larger numbers. Maria's suppressed emotions had contained crucial information about business structure modifications needed to scale sustainably. Her anger about boundary issues held intelligence about client screening processes, clear communication protocols, and pricing strategies that would attract respectful rather than demanding clients. Her fear about scaling had identified the specific systems needed to maintain quality relationships regardless of client volume. When Maria integrated this complete emotional intelligence into her business architecture, She created scaling strategies that honored both her growth ambitions and her authentic relationship values. Her business doubled in revenue while improving rather than compromising client relationship quality. This demonstrates how emotional suppression for manifestation purposes creates professional and personal costs that extend far beyond the specific area where you're trying to create change. The hidden cost of emotional performance. Beyond failed manifestations, positive-only approaches create psychological exhaustion that affects every area of your life. When you spend enormous energy monitoring and managing your emotional state for spiritual purposes, you have reduced bandwidth for creative problem-solving, authentic relationship building, and innovative thinking. James, a real estate investor, described manifestation practice as emotional babysitting, where he spent more mental energy managing his feelings about deals than actually analyzing properties, building relationships, or developing investment strategies. His forced positive approach attracted real estate opportunities, but his suppressed analytical concerns led to several unprofitable investments. When James learned to honor his complete emotional intelligence, his fear about specific properties contained crucial due diligence information, his anger about difficult sellers revealed negotiation strategies that protected his interests, and his sadness about market changes guided timing decisions that significantly improved his investment outcomes. The energy James had been using for emotional management became available for sophisticated market analysis and relationship building that exponentially improved his manifestation results. This pattern repeats for consciousness students across all areas. The energy spent maintaining emotional performance could be directed toward practical skill development, authentic relationship building, and creative solution generation that naturally supports manifestation through alignment rather than force. Ancient architects understood that consciousness and practical action operate as integrated systems. Emotional intelligence guides aligned action, while aligned action provides feedback that refines emotional intelligence. This integration creates what they called conscious competence, the ability to manifest through authentic capability rather than spiritual performance. The four-tool precision building method. Ancient consciousness architects developed systematic methods for using complete emotional intelligence as reality construction materials. These tools transform manifestation from forced positivity into authentic building practice. Tool 1, Anger as Demolition Intelligence. Practice example. Right now, think about one area where your manifestation efforts have been stuck or producing unsatisfying results. Feel whatever anger or frustration arises about this situation. Don't suppress it, spiritualize it, or rush to transform it into gratitude. Let yourself experience this anger fully while asking, what exactly needs to be demolished in my current approach, environment, or expectations for my authentic desires to have space to manifest? When Rachel used anger intelligence for career manifestation, her frustration about corporate politics revealed specific workplace dynamics she needed to avoid in any authentic career move. This anger guided her to research company cultures thoroughly, ask detailed questions about decision-making processes during interviews, and negotiate for autonomy provisions in her employment agreements. Her career transition felt empowering rather than anxiety-provoking because she had used anger intelligence to dismantle limitation patterns before constructing new professional realities. Your anger contains precise information about what's incompatible with your authentic evolution. Use it as demolition intelligence rather than evidence of spiritual failure. Tool 2. Sadness as clearing intelligence. Practice example. Consider what you might need to release, change, or leave behind to manifest your authentic desires. Feel any sadness that arises about these potential losses. Instead of rushing to feel better or finding silver linings, let this sadness complete its natural clearing function. When David used sadness intelligence for relationship manifestation, his grief about past romantic disappointments revealed unrealistic expectations and projection patterns that needed clearing before authentic partnership could emerge. This sadness guided him through emotional release work that connected him with his genuine relationship values rather than fantasy ideals. His eventual partnership felt both exciting and grounded because sadness intelligence had cleared emotional projections that would have created unsustainable relationship dynamics. Sadness isn't depression or dwelling on the past. It's architectural clearing that prepares consciousness for authentic construction by releasing attachments to what no longer serves your evolution. Tool 3. Fear as protection intelligence. Practice example. Think about the potential challenges, risks, or unknowns associated with manifesting your desired outcome. Feel any fear that arises, and instead of suppressing it as low vibration, extract the protection intelligence it contains. What is your fear trying to safeguard during this transformation? What values, relationships, resources, or aspects of yourself need protection protocols as you construct new realities? When Lisa used fear intelligence for business manifestation, her anxiety about scaling revealed specific systems needed to maintain quality client relationships during growth phases. This fear guided her to develop infrastructure, training protocols, and support systems that ensured business expansion served rather than compromised her authentic values. Her business growth felt sustainable and aligned because fear intelligence had identified protection requirements for maintaining integrity during transformation. Fear isn't cowardice or lack of faith. It's architectural planning that ensures your manifestations enhance rather than compromise what you value most deeply. Tool 4. Joy as construction energy. Practice example. Only after extracting architectural intelligence from anger, sadness, and fear, engage joy as the primary construction energy for your desired outcome. Notice how much more powerful and authentic this joy feels when it emerges from complete emotional preparation rather than forced positivity. When Michael integrated complete emotional architecture for creative manifestation, his joy about artistic projects became construction energy informed by anger intelligence about commercial pressures to avoid, sadness intelligence about artistic compromises to release, and fear intelligence about creative integrity to protect. His creative projects manifested as both artistically fulfilling and financially successful because they were constructed from complete emotional architecture that honored his authentic creative values while addressing practical sustainability requirements. This joy wasn't spiritual bypassing or positive thinking. It was natural construction energy that emerged when his consciousness was architecturally prepared for authentic creative expression. Advanced Integration Mastery. Living from Emotional Architecture. As your emotional architecture mastery develops, you integrate all 4 tools simultaneously rather than working through them sequentially for each manifestation. Advanced consciousness architects learn to access demolition, clearing, protection, and construction intelligence fluidly throughout their daily reality-building process. You feel anger about current limitations while simultaneously maintaining excitement about emerging possibilities. You experience sadness about what's ending while holding joy about what's beginning. You acknowledge fear about potential challenges while embodying confidence about your capability to navigate them skillfully. In the comments below, I want you to make a specific declaration that activates your emotional architecture mastery. Write these exact words. I architect with my complete emotional intelligence. Don't add explanations or personal stories. Just that declaration. This isn't about getting engagement. When you make this statement with authentic intention, You're announcing to the quantum field that you're ready to manifest from wholeness rather than partial positive performance. This emotional integration creates what ancient architects called coherent consciousness, awareness that operates from complete authenticity rather than partial performance. When your emotional architecture is integrated, your manifestations reflect your whole self rather than just your positive aspirations. The most advanced consciousness masters developed the ability to use emotional architecture not just for personal manifestation, but for creating realities that served entire communities. They understood that individual emotional integration contributes to collective consciousness evolution. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready to master consciousness architecture that creates results which feel both extraordinary and inevitable. Hit the notification bell because what I'm sharing in upcoming episodes about Tesla's electromagnetic consciousness protocols and advanced reality architecture techniques isn't available anywhere else. This isn't content you can Google. These are direct transmissions of consciousness mastery principles being shared for the first time. Starting tomorrow, implement this consciousness architecture routine that replaces traditional manifestation practices. Morning Emotional Architecture Assessment, 15 minutes. Instead of forcing gratitude or positive visualization, spend 15 minutes feeling whatever emotions are naturally present about your manifestation goals and extracting their architectural intelligence. Evening Integration Review, 10 minutes. Before sleep, review your day through emotional architecture. How did you use demolition intelligence? What clearing occurred naturally? What protection planning happened through your authentic responses? How did construction energy flow through aligned actions? Weekly Manifestation Reality Check, 30 minutes. Assess actual results versus emotional architecture inputs. Are your manifestations becoming more aligned, sustainable, and authentically satisfying? Adjust your emotional architecture practice based on real feedback rather than spiritual ideals about what should be working. Most importantly, share this video with anyone who's been struggling with positive-only manifestation approaches, not to convince them of anything, but to help them remember that their complete emotional intelligence is actually their greatest manifestation asset, not their biggest spiritual obstacle. Ancient consciousness masters built civilizations through emotional architecture mastery. Your manifestations will never feel forced, fragile, or hollow again, because they emerge from complete emotional integration rather than partial, positive performance. In our next consciousness architecture expedition, I'm revealing Tesla's electromagnetic consciousness protocols, how ancient masters learned to download complete solutions from the universal field rather than constructing from personal limitation. But these advanced techniques only work for practitioners who have mastered emotional architecture first. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss this transmission. You now possess the hidden emotional architecture method that consciousness masters used throughout history to create outcomes that seemed impossible but felt inevitable. Practice these 4 tools daily. Your consciousness is learning to architect reality from authenticity rather than construct outcomes through emotional suppression. Welcome to emotional architecture. Welcome to manifestation that works with your complete human experience. Welcome to the hidden architects.